Let's give our praises to the Most High, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, which in the ancient Hebrew is the Rakak Kwadash. Double honors to the elders of GMS who taught us this truth by the Holy Spirit. Honor to the brothers risking their life and freedom to push the gospel. Peace and blessings to the elect, who would be the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, who make up the lost 12 tribes of Israel, according to scripture and prophecy. The elect would be 1/3 of the Israelites, who in the last days will return back to Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai for salvation, while the 2/3 of Israel who don't seek the Lord in time be destroyed with America. Now I'll be back with another lesson through the mercy of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. And this lesson is going to be titled The Net, the Snare, the Cashless Digital System. The Net, the Snare, the Cashless Digital System. So throughout the book of Psalms, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes, mainly, those books, you read about the snare, you read about the net. And the average Christian got no understanding of what that's going into. But the snare and the net that you read about is this cashless digital system. They tell you that the snare and the net is the ways of the devil. That's true, but it's deeper than that. The snare and the net, it could be anything that leads you astray. It can be the distractions. It could be this system dumbing the people down, making them over-reliant on this system and this government. But ultimately, that snare and that net would be this cashless digital system with the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, which will plug you or give you access to this cashless digital system. So the snare and the net is this digital system, and they want to snare or trap the people up so that they take the RFID microchip. So I got a video, and we get some scriptures, and we're going to discuss a few things. But we're going to get started with this video. And I got wind of this video from the brother GMS Kingdom Minded. It's titled, The War on Cash, How Money Became a Weapon of Control. So let's check this video out.
Cash is disappearing, not by accident, not because of convenience, by design. In Sweden, 98% of transactions are now cashless. Most stores don't even accept physical money anymore. In India, the government banned 86% of its currency overnight in 2016, forcing hundreds of millions of people to scramble for digital alternatives or watch their savings become worthless paper. In France, you cannot legally make a cash transaction over 1,000 euros. In Italy, it's the same. Greece, Spain, Belgium, all have legal limits on how much cash you can use. And in the United States, try depositing $10,000 in cash at your bank and see what happens. You'll be reported to the government, investigated for potential money laundering, and treated like a criminal for the crime of using legal currency. The war on cash is not coming. It's already here. If you think this is about stopping criminals or making payments more efficient, you're missing the point entirely. Because once cash is gone, once every transaction you make is digital, tracked, and controlled, you're no longer economically free. You are permission-based, and permission can be revoked. Let's start with what cash actually is. It's the only form of money that's truly yours. When you hold a $20 bill, you own it. You can spend it without asking anyone's permission. You don't need a bank account, a smartphone, or an internet connection. You don't need to prove your identity or explain what you're buying. It's anonymous, immediate, and final. No one can freeze it, reverse it, or track it. That's why governments hate it, because cash is freedom. And every authoritarian system in history has understood that if you want to control a population, you must control their money. And you cannot control what you cannot see. So the first step is always the same. Eliminate cash. Force everyone into a system where every transaction is visible, every purchase is recorded, and every financial decision can be monitored, restricted, or punished. Sweden is held up as the model.
You have it listened, you type it in, and
This nigga Esau, man.
a modern, progressive, cashless society. But let's look at what that actually means. In Sweden, you can no longer pay for public transportation with cash in many cities. Homeless people begging on the street have started carrying card readers because no one has coins to give them anymore. Churches pass around card readers instead of collection plates. And an entire generation of Swedes has grown up never handling physical money. They genuinely don't understand why anyone would want it. But here's what they also don't understand. They are completely dependent on a system they do not control. If your bank freezes your account, you cannot buy food. If the power goes out, you cannot pay for anything. If the payment network goes down, the entire economy stops. In 2020, Sweden suffered a major technical outage that knocked out card payment systems across the country. Grocery stores, gas stations, pharmacies, all paralyzed. People with money in their accounts couldn't access it. This wasn't some catastrophic event. It was a routine technical failure, and it revealed the fragility of a system that has eliminated the backup. Because that's what cash is, a backup, a way to transact when everything else fails. Sweden gave that up for convenience, and now they're trapped. India's case is even more brutal. In November 2016, Prime Minister Modi went on television and announced that 500 and 1,000 rupee notes, which made up 86% of the cash in circulation, would no longer be legal tender effective immediately. You had a few weeks to deposit your old notes in a bank and exchange them for new ones. The official reason was to fight corruption, tax evasion, and counterfeit money. The real reason was control. Overnight, millions of people who operated in the cash economy, farmers, small vendors, day laborers, found their money worthless. The lines outside banks stretched for miles. People died waiting in those lines, literally. Elderly people, sick people, standing in the heat for hours trying to exchange money that was their life savings. Small businesses collapsed because they couldn't make change. Crops rotted because farmers couldn't pay workers. It was economic chaos, and the government called it progress because the goal was never efficiency. The goal was to force people into the digital banking system where every transaction could be tracked. India wanted to eliminate the informal economy, the untaxed transactions, the under-the-table deals. And the way to do that is to eliminate cash. Did it work? Not the way they claimed.
So yeah, we're gonna discuss a few things before we move forward. Like early on, when the video first started, they mentioned that cash is disappearing. Why? Because the world is transitioning into this cashless digital society. And what's going to give you access or plug you in will be the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast. So like they say, cash is disappearing for more than one reasons. So, for example, in America, everybody's losing their job, homelessness, unemployment is increasing, AI is replacing the workforce, the government making all kind of budget cuts, laying people off, people being fired, etc. So in that sense, people access to money is being cut off. Now, bigger picture, when you look at the world, physical money is disappearing from the world. So, like in America, they just made the last penny a few weeks ago. No more pennies gonna be made, so you're gonna start to see the penny disappear, along with the dime, the nickel, and the quarter, because it costs more to make those coins than what they're actually worth. And how they made an example of how India, it banned like 86% of its paper notes overnight. That would be the equivalent if America banned the $20 and the $100 bills, which the $20 bill is the most common bill in the world. There's more 20s than any other dollar bill in the world. So if America banned the $20 bill overnight, it'll be chaos. India's done it already, as they transition into the digital economy, which they ahead of America. China is too. So what they want to do in America is get America up to speed. So people access to money is disappearing, and physical money on the world stage is disappearing. Now, what they want to do is force people into this cashless digital system. And with that, everything can be tracked, monitored. They can see where you spend your money, how you spend it, where you at, where you been, who you talk to. and stuff like that. And what they want to do is get people completely dependent on this system. And you being dependent on the system is for one or more reasons. Rather, you trust this system, you trust the US government, you got faith in the dollar, or you just too distracted from reality. So by default, you just going with the get along. Whatever the world do, you gonna go along with it. Or people gonna lean on this system out of fear. But what they're doing is creating different economic crises. For example, unemployment rates going up, mass layoffs, mass people being fired, economic crises, or rather it's a natural disaster to put you in a bind, you lose everything, the fluctuations with hyperinflation, taxes, economic crises. But that's what it's coming to. And then eventually, in this cashless digital society, things are going to be permission based. Permission based goes into the social credit system, which they're going to talk more about that in a little while. But first, we're going to start here. I was at ease, but he have broken me asunder. And what's you being at ease? The right now. You can go to work, get a paycheck on schedule, and repeat. Save money, save for a vacation, buy you something. Go in the stores as you please. Malls, shopping centers, restaurants, as you please. You got, a lot of people pay with a debit credit card, but you can take out physical money and spend it how you like. That's you being at ease. I was at ease, but he hath broken me asunder. He hath also taken me by my neck and shaken me to pieces. What's him breaking you asunder? What's him taking you by the neck and shaking you to pieces? Pretty much what the whole 2025 has been about. People losing their jobs, hardships, people going homeless, food stamps not coming on time, people living check to check. People don't know how they gonna eat or provide for their family tomorrow. More and more people going homeless in these food bank lines. That's you being broken and shaken to pieces. Esau putting his foot on everybody's neck. This is economic, financial hardship. It says what? And set me up for his mark. So the reason everybody getting fired and laid off and got some kind of financial hardship, economic crisis going on in their life, because he's setting you up, he's setting you people up for the mark. And that would be the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip. So he's trying to get people in the bind to continue to rely on the system, because this is all they know, or they rely on this system out of fear. Now, as we continue, we're going to get the book of Ecclesiastes 9 and 12. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in the evil net, and as birds that are caught in a snare. So are the sons of men snared in the evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. So and what's this evil time? The time of Jacob's trouble. The time of the great tribulation. Ultimately, the hour of temptation. That's going to try every man, woman, and child on earth. But they say, as a fish is taken in the evil net, so are the sons of men. And what's this evil net in our sense? It would be the internet. Really, in the scriptures, net is short for internet. What's a net? It's like a web. That's why the internet is also called the World Wide Web. In this internet, or this World Wide Web, everything is going to be linked together. You got 5G, internet, cell phone towers. You got the cloud. You got these data centers, cell phone, 5G towers. Everything is going to be microchipped and linked to the grid, which when you think about a net or a web, It's a grid, and they want everything on the grid. So this net that's being prepared is really the internet of things, everything being on the grid. As the fish that are taken in the evil net, this is the internet, and as the birds that are caught in the snare. What's the snare? Really the same thing. And how are you going to be taken into the net, into the snare? Either being overly distracted, happy with this world, or you get caught in this net or snare out of fear, or you just super dependent on the system. And that's the birds that are caught in a snare. So are the sons of men snared in the evil time, and we in that evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. Yeah, because it's gonna come suddenly when that happens in America. So yeah, it's gonna come suddenly, and people not gonna know what to do. They're gonna be perplexed. And that's why Proverbs 29 and 25 say this: the fear of man bringeth a snare. That's why the Lord said, don't fear the man that can kill you, but fear him who can kill you and kill your soul in hell, which Christians don't understand that. So pretty much don't fear Esau, because out of fear, what it say? Fear of man bringeth a snare. So you already snared, you already trapped. If you fear what this man Esau can do to you, you already snared, you already trapped. If you in fear about anything that's coming to the earth, because there's gonna be people that get microchipped out of fear. See, that's what the Lord said, don't fear man. Because when you look up that definition for fear, I can't remember if it's in the Greek or the Hebrew, but like such as when you fear the Lord, there's a certain kind of fear that brings obedience. And that's the fear that we supposed to have of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Fear that brings obedience. But if you got this same fear for Esau the white man, when he bring that RFID microchip, you're going to be obedient and get it because you fear the white man. That's why it says the fear of man bringeth a snare. So if you fear being broke, if you fear being homeless, being unemployed, losing everything, not being able to provide for yourself, the fear of missing out, the fear of losing things in this world, you already snared. That's why I say, but whoso putteth his trust in the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, shall be safe. So the elect, Lord, whether we part of that, we're not going to be in fear of Esau Edom, the so-called white man, or whatever he's going to bring upon the earth. We just going to continue to trust in the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, to hell and damn what the pale male is doing. Again, whoso putteth his trust in the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, shall be safe. Because we going to be caught up in these troubles too. We going to be unemployed, on the run, public enemy number one. Our faces going to be on the billboards. They going to make AI videos and audio of us doing who knows what. We going to be pretty much cut off from society at some point. But guess what? We're not going to be in fear. We're just going to continue to trust in the Lord, and the Lord going to provide. Which I'm going to jump here real quick. Lord willing, I can find it real quick. When we come to the book of Psalms, I think it's 55 and 22. It say, cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. So when we're not able to buy food and water to provide for ourselves and our families, we're not going to fear. We're just going to cast our burdens on the Lord. We're going to trust in the Lord, and we're going to be safe. Meaning what? The Lord going to clothe us, feed us, protect us, keep us safe, healthy from the sword, the famine, and the pestilence. And then when we jump here to the book of Psalms 57, verse 6, they have prepared a net for my steps. And what's that net? That's the internet, the World Wide Web. See, the internet used to just be an imaginary thing, something you go look up information. Well, the internet is going to be your entire reality. And it's getting there now. That's why everything needs an email address. Everything you got to register for. You need a smartphone for every damn thing. Everything is on the internet. Everything is going online. Everything is going digital. See that? They have prepared a net for my steps. It's being prepared right now. You know, while the people are being broken asunder, Esau got their foot on their neck, people going through it, people struggling, people in fear, people trying to figure out what the hell going on. The net is really already ready. They setting you up for the mark. It says, my soul is bowed down. That's us, you know, being in a low place. They have digged the pit before me. What's the pit? This net, this snare. Anything to get us to fall into the midst whereof they are falling themselves. So they digging the pit before us when they dig and build these internet towers and data centers and smart cities and 5G towers and smart homes and smart vehicles. They dig the pit before me into the midst whereof they are falling themselves, because it's going to be the last thing Esau, Edom get to do on the earth before his destruction. And I'm going to get this real quick. Now behold, thou trustest upon the staff of this bruised reed, even upon Egypt, on which if a man lean, it will go into his hand, and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, unto all that trust on him. Now, what is this Egypt talking about? In the prophetic sense, it will be talking about America. That's why the pyramid is on the back of the dollar. And what it say? This bruised. When something is bruised, it's broken. Then what it say? Egypt, which is America, spiritual Egypt, on which if a man lean. If you lean on something, that's your support. That means you trust in it to hold you up. That means you can lean on it. That's why I say it will go into his hand and pierce it. So trusting in America for too long, eventually your hand is going to get pierced. With what? The RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust. To go that word trust. Leaning on something goes into trusting in it. And people going to trust or lean on this system either out of fear, or they overly dependent on this system. This is all they know. Or they totally distracted and don't know what the hell going on, and they just going to do whatever is told to them. And people going to do a lot of confusion as well. And then you getting your hand pierced. And that's what the Lord said, the fear of man bringeth from a snare. And you getting your hand pierced. This is Revelation 13:16. And he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And what's that mark in the right hand? The RFID microchip. What's the mark in the forehead? The Neuralink brain chip. And the other brain chips that are being developed. So we're going to get back to this video. We're going to skip ahead just a little bit.
Imagine being able to...
This nigga, bro.
But think about what this really does. It forces you to leave a paper trail for every significant financial decision you make.
And when you go digital, you don't literally leave a paper trail because, again, everything is digital. But you do leave a trail because whatever you do is going to be part of the grid. It's going to be part of that net. Everything you do, recorded, tracked, monitored, is going to be kept in them data centers.
The government knows when you buy, what you buy, and from whom. And if they don't like it, they can stop it. Because once the transaction is digital, it can be blocked. Your account can be frozen. Your payment can be reversed.
And we see that now. Let's say, for example, you live up north, and let's say you travel to the West Coast, or you travel out of the country, and you use your debit card. The bank will look at it as fraud, so they'll block your payment. So they can block your payment already. But once everything is fully digital, the government will be able to block you in a second. And that's the thing with digital. But let's continue.
and you have no alternative. Because cash, the fallback, is illegal for that purchase. Now let's go back in history. Because the war on cash is not.
And that's all we want to get the government will be able to block your payment. And that's according to scripture. That's why when we go back to the book of Revelation 13-16, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in her right hand and in their foreheads. That's the mark of the beast. The microchip, which would be a digital wallet, digital ID, digital key, and the brain chips. It goes on to say that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you won't be able to buy or sell, make any transaction, pay for anything, receive money for anything, unless you got the RFID microchip. That's the mark. But it don't stop there. Just because you get the mark, that don't mean you free to do what you want. Because we already got, the government will know everything that you buy, how you spend your money. And if they don't like it, they can pretty much block your payment. Your account can be frozen. So again, that no man might buy or sell. Without the mark, you won't be able to buy or sell. But even once you get the mark, how you spend money is going to change forever. It's going to be controlled and monitored. And if you spend money in an unacceptable way, they can just deactivate your chip. Because we're going to get into it. The chips are going to be programmable, meaning they can be controlled. But we're going to keep going. We're going to skip ahead in this video.
Track it or control it. That's why every modern government is so desperate to eliminate cash. Because cash is the last step before barter. And barter is freedom. Now let's come back to today. Central bank digital currencies.
The CBDCs, that's going to be the digital currency that's used worldwide. Speculate that, different countries, different governments going to have their own version of the CBDC. But the point is, this is a global thing. You can't run to Africa to escape the mark of the beast in the cashless digital society. You can't flee to who knows where. This is going to be a global thing.
Every major economy is researching or piloting them. China is already rolling out the digital yuan. Europe is moving toward a digital euro. The Federal Reserve is studying a digital dollar, and they all say the same thing, that it's more efficient, it's more secure, it's the future. But here's what they don't say. CBDCs are programmable. Unlike cash, which just sits there, digital currency can be coded with rules.
So the CBDC being programmable, when you program something, you can control it. You can change how it functions. You could change how it works. And that's going to be the case with the CBDC as they about to get into. That is programmable, meaning you could change it. Because see, when you got a dollar is a dollar. Although the value of it may fluctuate. You can always use it as of now. It's never going to leave your pocket. The dollar is there. It's solid. It's a physical thing. But not the CBDC. And they're going to explain what they mean when they say that it's programmable.
Digital currency can be coded with rules. It can have an expiration date, forcing you to spend it or lose it.
And that's the thing. The CBDCs can have an expiration date. Like if you don't spend your money within 2 weeks, your money's just going to disappear. Paper money don't do that, but the CBDC will. And that's the Edomite telling you. It ain't just us.
It can be restricted to certain types of purchases.
It could be restricted. They already, it's a war on everything. It's a war on guns. They want to take your guns. So your CBDC on your microchip It could be restricted from gun and ammo purchase or whatever else.
No alcohol, no guns, no meat. Whatever the government decides. It can be geofenced, so you can only spend it in certain areas.
It could be geofence. We mentioned this in other lessons that in a smart city or a 15-minute city, the idea of it is you won't have to travel more than 15 minutes or like 5 or 7 miles from your house. Everything you would need in life would be within a 15-minute distance of travel from your house or apartment or whatever. And the thing is, if you travel outside of that limit, the CBDC or your microchip won't work. Again, that's why I say that no man might buy or sell, say if he done had the mark. Once you get the mark, that don't mean you're going to be free to buy and sell as you please. It's going to be heavily restricted. Again, you're going to be geofenced. Your CBDC, it'll work in the city you live in, but let's say you want to travel to visit for fun or family. Unless you get permission and give notice, you can expect your CBDC to not work. You can expect restrictions. So let's continue.
It can be frozen instantly if you're flagged for any reason. And every transaction, every single one, is recorded in a government database forever. This is not speculation. These are features that central banks are actively discussing. China is already using this. The digital yuan tracks every purchase, and it's integrated with the social credit system. If your social credit score is too low, your money stops working for certain things.
And that's the thing. At the beginning of this video, they said the way you spend money, your access to buying and selling, it's not going to be based rather you have money or not. Like now, if you got money, you can spend it. If you got it, you can buy it. No, this is going to be on a permission-based type of economy. Just because you got money don't mean you're going to spend it. There's going to be guidelines to that. Where are you spending it at? How much are you spending? What are you buying? And they said it's going to be based off a social credit system. Now, let me see if I can see something real quick. In the social credit system, pretty much your standing in society, that's going to determine whether you can buy or sell. So let's say you got a speeding ticket in the last 3 months. Your social credit score is going to be affected. Let's say you got in some kind of legal trouble. Social credit score going to be affected. Hey, how you can spend money or what you can buy will be restricted. But with the social credit score, it's not limited to you breaking the law. It could be things that's undesirable by the government. For example, all the people that's protesting against Trump, they protesting against what the Trump administration is doing. That's not necessarily illegal, but in the social credit system, if you do anything undesirable or unacceptable by the government, they can penalize you. So let's take this back a little bit. I think they're going to explain it a little more.
China is already using this. The digital yuan tracks every purchase, and it's integrated with the social credit system. If your social credit score is too low, your money stops working for certain things.
Yeah, if your social credit score is low. What else? Like speaking out against, if you speaking for truth, such as on the internet, it's not illegal, but the government gonna deem it unacceptable. And for that, social credit score would drop. And your access to spending the CBDC will be restricted, if not eliminated. That's the thing with a social credit system.
You can't buy plane tickets. You can't book high-speed trains. You can't enroll your kids in private schools. Your money still exists, but you're not allowed to use it the way you want. That's the future of CBDCs. And it's coming to the West. They'll just call it something else. Fraud prevention, risk management, protecting the vulnerable. But the mechanics will be identical. Your money will work only if you comply.
Yep.
Negative interest rates are another piece of this puzzle.
And it gets worse. Negative interest rates, meaning your money devalues over time. So let's say you start off the month with 500 CBDC digital credits. They're going to explain it that it pretty much you're going to lose it over time. You heard the phrase "use it or lose it." They're going to explain it more though.
In a world with cash, negative interest rates don't work. If the bank charges you to hold your money, you just withdraw it and keep it under your mattress. But in a cashless world, you can't do that. If cash is illegal or unavailable, you're forced to keep your money in the bank. And if the bank charges you negative interest, slowly draining your account, you can't escape. You either spend it, which is what the government wants, or you watch it evaporate.
So it's no more saving money. So if you got 500 digital credits, and let's say every 10 days, let's say every 3 days, you're going to lose 50 credits. You start off with 500, but every 3 days, it's going to automatically drop by 50. You be best spending it while you got it so you don't lose it. So no more saving up money for a rainy day, saving up money for an emergency. And the goal is to have you overly dependent on this system, that you play by the rules of society so that your social credit score is up, so that you're not penalized or restricted on how you can spend money.
Happening in parts of Europe, and it will spread. Because in a world drowning in debt, governments need to force people to spend, not save. And negative interest rates are the tool, but they only work if you eliminate cash. Bank bail-ins are the final.
So that was about it for this video. We're gonna get some more precepts. But you see the net that's being laid out for our people. You see the snare. They want to get everybody in a bind. As a matter of fact, let's go back. This is the book of Psalms 57:6. They have prepared a net for my steps. So you see what they're trying to do with the internet. It's going to be your whole reality. Oh, and also with the social credit system, let's say you post something on Facebook or any kind of social media that the government don't like. You could be penalized. Not that it's illegal. It's just the government going to penalize you because they got the power to do so. They have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. That's not what I'm looking for. Forgive me. This is the book of... Did I not put it in here? I guess so. They have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. They have digged the pit before me. So yeah, hey, this is the net. This is the pit. This is the snare. Ultimately, that they want to bring about to force us in this digital system and force that mark of the beast on us, that RFID market chip. And that's what we come into during the time of Jacob's trouble in the hour of temptation. Time of Jacob's trouble is to put you in a bind, that you be in fear, that you be in desperation, that you be in need, that you're willing to do anything to go back to normal. Or you just confused, don't know what to do, so you get the market chip to go back to normal. Or you just be overly distracted with music, money, partying, that you go along with the get along, go along with the go along. But when we get this in the book of Psalms 9:15, the heathen are sucked down in the pit that they made. Because this ain't just the white man that's doing this. China's doing it. All the major economies in the world are doing it. India, the Middle East, Australia. But ultimately, the head of it is Esau Edom, the so-called white man. The heathen are sucked down in the pit that they made. This is the pit. They think they digging the pit in the trap for us. Really, they digging their own grave. And the net which they hid is their own foot taking. This is the net. This is the net that they laid out and tried to hide under our noses. Tried to do it in secret. But it says what? Their own foot is taken. So again, they only digging their own grave. And that's the thing with the distractions, the music, the parties, one thing after another, one crisis after another, one event after another. You know, the political wars and confusion is for them to roll out this digital system right under your noses and you not notice because you preoccupied with folly because your mind is on something else less important that you overlook what they doing. Let destruction come upon him at unawares. That's that nuclear destruction. They gonna get the system off the ground just briefly. Shortly after they do, that nuclear destruction coming. The nuclear missiles heading towards America. Let his net, his internet, this digital system he have hid catch himself. So this is not a literal net, this is a metaphor. They gonna get so caught up into this that destruction gonna come unaware. That's why the scriptures say, when he shall fill his belly, the Lord shall cast the fury of his wrath on him. Something like that. It says, and to the very destruction, let him fall. What's that destruction? The nuclear destruction. That's gonna be the last thing they get to do before that nuclear destruction. And this is the book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 10. The wicked have laid a snare for me. This is that snare. In its perfection, it's this cashless digital system, the New World Order, the smart cities, which the RFID microchip will plug you into the grid. You become part of the system. But yeah, the snare, smaller scale, it could be music, drugs, partying, the ways of Satan, devil worship, idol worship, whatever you want to call it. Anything that leads you astray from the truth. Because without this truth, without the precepts, you're going to fall in this pit that Esau the white man is laying out. But again, they have laid a snare for me, yet I err not from thy precepts. And that's what the elect are going to do. The snare is being laid before us. The net is being laid before us. And the distractions, the confusion, the desperation, being in need, as he prepares you for the mark, we're not going to be affected by that. Why? Because we're not going to err from the precepts. We're going to continue to trust in the Lord. We're going to continue to trust in what's written. And that's why book of Psalms 25 and 15 say, mine eyes are ever toward the Lord. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean you looking up at the sky at the Lord? No. It means you're keeping your eyes single. You're being guided by the precepts. You're going to trust in what's written. For he shall pluck my feet out of the net. Yeah, and that's his cashless digital system. When you pluck up something, you pull it up. So what's us being plucked by the feet out of the net? Us going into them chariots. That's literally the Lord plucking us out of this net. Us going up into them chariots. Why? Because as we being plucked out of this net, they going to fall into this destruction, that nuclear fire. So there's going to be a heavily oppressive system, way worse than anything that's going on now. This ain't going to be no way to live. It's going to be impossible to escape it. And then that's how we going to get this. This is the book of Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. This is one aspect of the image of the beast, which that word image goes into likeliness. Everything Esau is building up is in his likeliness. It's a reflection of him. And then even that word image is similar to that word imagination. So he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Whatever this beast, Esau the white man, has imagined, that's the image, he's manifested it. Data centers, smart cities, supercomputers, the cloud, smart cities, and give life to the image of the beast, meaning he could bring to life his imagination. That the image of the beast should both speak. And that's why you got artificial intelligence. You know, his inventions and devices can speak like it literally has life. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So he's going to behead people and decapitate people for not receiving the mark of the beast. Even besides that, for those who don't receive the mark, you're going to be shut out of society. And when it says they should be killed, when you look into this in the Greek, one of the things it says is allow to perish. So if you don't go with this cashless digital beast system, you pretty much gonna die slowly. You're gonna be shut out of society. And then not to mention, he can negative interest rates. He can take your money over a period of time. He can freeze your account instantly. He could stop your payment. He could deactivate your chip. And that's why I forgot something. We're going to go here real quick. When you come to the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 34, we're going to get verse 21. Far as the negative interest rates, him being able to freeze your accounts, this is verse 21. The bread of the needy is their life. He that defraudeth him thereof is a man of blood. So the negative interest rates or freezing somebody's account, deactivating their chip so they can't spend their money, they need that bread. They need that money. And when you take away a man's money or access to his money, or that he can't use his money, you a man of blood, you a murderer. You killing him slowly. He that taketh away his neighbor's living. What's your living? Your wages. When you take away your neighbor's living, slayeth him, so you a killer. He that defraudeth the labor of his hire is a bloodshedder. And with this cashless digital society system, they can do to your money as they please. And which I meant to get this. This is the book of Haggai, 1:6. You have sown much and bring in little. You eat, but ye have not enough. You drink, but you are not filled with drink. You clothe, but there is none warm. He that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. So what's you putting your wages or your money into a bag with holes? Taxes, state taxes, federal taxes, child support, jail court, lawyer fees, application fees, administrative fees, service charges, hidden fees, interest rates, late fees. That's you putting your wages into a bag with holes in it. But as far as this digital system, what's that bag with holes in it? Well, you got a digital account, but the negative interest rates. That's like you putting your money into a bag with holes in it, and the money falls out over time. That's the negative interest rates. Your money is depleted over time, whether you use it or not. Or if your money expires, that after a certain date, it's gone completely. Or you just having your chip cut off. You got money, but you can't use it. But that's what the scriptures say. It calls that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. You worshiping the image of the beast, ultimately is getting the RFID market chip. And for those who get the RFID market chip, you got to continue to worship the beast. That's why they got the social credit system. Meaning you got to comply with everything that's acceptable in society. Anything that's deemed unacceptable, the image of the beast, this system is going to shut you out and cause you to be killed. Rather, you don't have access to your money, or you starve to death, or you get sick, die of sickness, or can't buy food and water, so you die of a famine. So yeah, so this the lesson, and it was titled "The Net, the Snare, the Cashless Digital System." This is what the world is coming to. This is why we need to be delivered. So, Lord willing, that's informative edifying. Until next time, Shalom.